This is IBM Museum. On this video, I'll be demonstrating the IBM InfoWindow 2 display station that I have behind me. And we saw the headless InfoWindow in a previous video. That's the unit I'll go through and use to capture the display output as I go through and work with my AS400 and other aspects terminal related to that. The InfoWindow 2 has a similar functionality. It's got a built-in monochrome screen like most terminals, and does have a little bit of the functionality of that InfoWindow G. Now, IBM has a page up. We'll look over the information just briefly here. And they go through, let me get where I can interact with this screen a little bit. And this is dated the 1st of September of 1992. And the IBM InfoWindow 2, and these are model number 3486, 3487 display station. And it's a follow-up of the InfoWindow terminal that I'll get to in the next video. Has a little bit more functionality for the InfoWindow 2. And go through and scroll through this. And of course, you can pause to read this in places for the specifics. And talks about the display sessions and printer sessions that are possible, a built-in calculator, longer life and reduced power consumption using new advanced power management techniques. And they talk about an expansion cartridge. I will go over the exterior of the unit. I have not seen that on the unit, where that connection is for that. So they talk about all the printer setup, and then the availability today, dates for that. And, you know, that's just shy of 30 years ago, you know, just a little bit over 29 years ago for the availability. And then they have the separate models, and I'm sure it's the color of the screen and things like that for those models. And okay, and there we get into seeing the 14-inch amber gold is the one that I believe that I have. They even have, I guess, differing warranties periods for the models. And I don't know if this will give. Okay, it has the two different keyboard types, or three different keyboard types effectively, and whatever the difference is between the 122 key typewriter keyboard and the 122 key data entry keyboard. Probably just some changed keycaps. It's probably the same physical unit. Just has some keys mapped for maybe better for typist, or the standard 101 key keyboard that I have with the my InfoWindow. I could swap over to this unit as well. And they even have it identified for the Personal System 2 mouse. We'll get into that in a moment as well. Okay, with mouse support. And again, I'm just going to go through and scroll through this a little bit. And it can be paused in the video to go through and read that. Okay. And I don't know if we're getting down to... There's the user guide. I don't have any manuals with these systems. And I do have a few of the InfoWindow 2s. I think the other units I have are the green screen, where this one I have here is the amber screen. Okay, they give the size and weight. I'm looking for a price. I didn't really scan through this document before. Temperature, environments, electrical power. And it lists the printers for the printer sessions. Okay. Okay, and we see this for the System 34 going through, and you're setting up the system, or excuse me, a System 36. You're having to set this as the 3196 terminal, which we've seen in a previous video. Okay. And the OS 400 version that's required for the mouse support. And that should be pretty easy to satisfy for the OS 400 version. And how much more the screen? Again, I'm just scanning through. I'm trying to see. Okay, they talk about the warranty periods. Okay. Talk about discounts. But I want to see, okay, there we get to pricing. Finally. Okay, and the 3-year warranty. And then even pricing for the individual items. And $101 for the mouse. Oh, and okay, and then price, and then no charge. Is what it looks like. I don't know how to read that little effectively that sheet. Here they're separating into parts. Even for the 122 key keyboards being $227, and those being in 1992 prices. With inflation, that would, adjusted for inflation, those would be quite higher. So let's get looking at the unit itself. and I have the actually my ring light off from my camcorder, and this is the camcorder view on the other side. Might be seem a little bit dark, but when I was doing video, that was really playing havoc with the focus, just having that ring light on, and I'm not really able to do a capture of the screen so well with this setup, which is really why I like that InfoWindow G that I had in the previous video, because that will do all my display output capturing that I would have on the terminal. I would be able to capture and present it to the screen very easily. But I'm going to go through, I'll get turned around, I can go through and describe as the different screens. And I'm going to go through to power up the unit. I want to get into the configuration mode, which is holding down the space bar and pressing the power button. Continuing to hold down the space bar until we go through and get the splash screen about the control program. And then we're at the menu that we saw with very similar to the InfoWindow G that we have at the very top that's highlighted right now, Customize Workstation. And so I'm going to go through and select that. It goes to where you can select one display, which is highlighted right now, to display, a display with printer, and to display with printer. And so let's go through and select the display printer by pressing the space bar. We have for the display address, we can go through and set, you see how that focus is carried over to the screen. It's not just, it's probably with the not synchronizing with the video on the screen very well. So we have display address 1 that will select, and that excludes that being selected from the printer address. As we saw before in that previous video, I can press the space bar for the printer address of 2, and those addresses, of course, are 0 through 6. And then we have the forward key, just like we saw with the previous video. We do have that more and the plus sign in the upper corner. I'm going to go through and press the F8. There we have the printer customization that we could go through, and we could select a particular printer type. There's the 4029 and the 4019, which are laser printers, and selecting them by a space bar. We do have a listing that talks about the additional customization. For this, the main customization just has the backward and the minus sign here. So there's not any real main customization that's done from this from these screens. But going through for the additional customization, we have the display character set being country specific or multinational, printer emulation being 5256, 4214, or 3812. And then superscript, subscript is half height or full height. And symbol code page 899 or 437. So let's go through for F8 for forward. It says ASCII printer type is standard or user defined. It's almost readable on the screen. If I zoom in, the focus still goes around quite a bit. And then the additional customization, it says move cursor to desired choice, then press the space bar to select. It has program download ID, and it's got a matrix of 0, through 9 as far as on that first row, but going all the way to 99 in this chart or this matrix of some program that you could download, I guess maybe from the host for that customization process. I don't know exactly what that does. I would need the manual to go through for that. And that's the last screen of the additional customization. So we're going to do F7 to go backward. Okay, and it's telling me invalid key selected. There we see that brief little focus thing. Maybe it's even my hand in front of the screen. That just has a really, we see this having a real hard time. I may go through and save and exit is likely the choice I have with the screen. Okay, so that's all the customized workstation. We have update serial number. And we can go through the same things that we saw on that video for the InfoWindow G to go through and put a particular serial number in there. Man, that's going all matrix on me. Okay, and F3 to save and exit. And then the test workstation. And we have on this screen, finally, we haven't had a pointer before, but we do have the block cursor now. And when we go through and press the buttons, we do see, just like the InfoWindow G, where it goes through and shows those buttons on the screen. I'm going to go through for reset to exit. And we're going to go through and press the F3 key on here to go through and exit to where it has us in the offline mode. We have the cursor in the upper right hand corner. It's got the cursor position here in the lower right hand corner saying 1/80, meaning that it's on the first row and the 80th column, because the screen is 80 characters wide. And so we have that block cursor. We're able to move that around the screen in those applications where we could actually click on something as far as the host system program that we're running. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to power this unit off. And that does look bright enough for me. I'll have to see how this shows up in video. But we're going to go through and I can kind of move maybe the 101 or 122 key keyboard out of the way slightly. Let's actually put it over here. And I don't know if I'm going to disconnect the cords necessarily, just to kind of show. We have the brightness and contrast control at the bottom, the power button, of course, and the on indicator. On the right hand side, as you're looking at the terminal, we do have the keyboard connector here. It's that RJ45 type connector, just like the other InfoWindows that we've seen so far. And then it's got the PS2 connector for the mouse next to that, and then it's got the lock in the back on that side. So there's nothing on the left hand side effectively. And again, I don't know where that they're talking about that expansion port that would go through and be on these units. And on the back view here, we have the InfoWindows also have this style of connector for the pass-through connector for the Twin-X cable. I have it connected to one of these leads. Okay. And on this end, it's actually a, defined in the past, of course, as being a male connector or has the pins in there. The InfoWindow G had that reversed. And so I've got actually some gender changer interposers that are to use this sort of connection with the that InfoWindow G. Now we also have down underneath the DB25 parallel port connector for the printer session, and then the power connection. And it's just marked, of course, with the identification on the back here. And it's got a white label on mine here that says used equipment. I don't know at what point that IBM went through and or someone else put that label on. We can go through, and this screen is actually pretty good. It doesn't have a little bit more newer units, so it doesn't have any burn-in or anything like that. Especially with that amber level, seems like it does pretty well for that. Just trying to get the elevation angled right for me, and this doesn't. It just doesn't elevate just quite like the 3196 and 3197 seem to do a little bit better at that. So if you enjoyed this video, click on that like button. And growing in subscribers, looks like I'm just short of 800 subscribers, which is really, really good. I was just notified of another one as I was going through and recording this video. And I'm hoping that I'm going to kind of shift gears toward the end of the week and just getting ready for that live stream on Saturday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. It's noon Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, and 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm going to go through and do an unboxing, a little bit, shift away a little bit from the terminals and from the mid-range system of the AS400, and it's going to be a PS2 unboxing, a rather rare model of PS2 that's just not found out there, and I've got one new in box, so that's going to be a nice little thing that I can do for that live stream on Saturday. But that's all I have for now. This is IBM Museum. Thank you.